absolutely on fire and a huge streak working.
And Todd LeDuc getting pulled off the track during the pace lap. That is bad news for the Rockstar number 7.
Here's a look at the points. Kyle LeDuc with 5 wins in the first 6 rounds, followed by Ricky Johnson and Rob McCachran. Let's get it over to Rob Klepper, who has more.
Well, you know, guys, for your current Pro 4 points leader, Kyle LeDuc, 5 wins so far in 2014, but more importantly, brings a 4-race win streak here to Utah. If you go back to 2012, the year he won the title, he brought a 6-race win streak here to Utah. Of course, that streak was broke by Carl Rennezetter, but Kyle told me, I like this racetrack. You have to be aggressive if you want to make a pass, and that's fine. I watched some of the past races, some of the old tapes, to find out where we can find some time and be faster out on this racetrack. He was very fast in qualifying P1, looking for win number 6 here this year. Aaron?
Thanks, Rob. Rob Mack is in the heat of the battle, sitting 3rd overall in points, and at the halfway point of the season, he said that this championship is far from over. Ever since he arrived here in Utah, he has been struggling with his Pro 4. He said the Pro 4 is a lot heavier, and considering it's 4-wheel drive, it's got a lot more bite, a lot more grip, and it connects to the ground more. He said that he's feeling that it's lugging a little bit and having a low-pitched sound as he's trying to exit the corners. So the team, when he brought it back to the pits, they tore it apart, they checked the motor, everything seems to be perfectly fine. Rob said for him, he feels that it might just be a mental thing that he needs to adapt to and overcome, but he's still looking for that first victory of the season, and he's hoping to pull that off here today at round number 7.
Well, he's had some success here on the Pro 2 truck. He's won 3 times. In fact, the last 3 times he was here in the Pro 2 truck. However, Kyle LeDuc has only won at this racetrack 1 time. So he needs to pick up the pace here and keep that streak alive. Ricky Johnson will lead him to the stripe. He's no picnic to get around, nor is Carl Rennezetter. Rob McCachran and Kyle LeDuc in row 2, then Greg Adler and Doug Thornton in row 3. Todd LeDuc and, yes, Rob Naughton will be filling in for Brandon Bailey. In row 4, we'll round out the field with Corey Weller and Jerry Doherty. Brandon Bailey, unfortunately, flipping that thing in qualifying and kind of rung his bell a little bit, so they put Rob Naughton inside of the truck. Let's get it over to Rob Klepper with more on Todd LeDuc.
And guys, as you can see, as we get set to go green here for the Pro 4s in Utah, the Rockstar Energy Drink Lone Mar number 7, driven by Todd LeDuc, would not fire on the start line. So you can see some of Carl Rennezetter's crew, some of Rob McCachran's crew over there to bring the battery to it, try and fire this thing up and get LeDuc out on this racetrack.
Todd has had a tough start to the season for sure. As they throw the green flag, Ricky Johnson, Carl Rennezetter side by side through turn 1. It's going to be Ricky Johnson, and he hangs on to that thing after really pitching it in hard. That track is wet as well, standing water in the rhythm section. Should be interesting to watch the guys get through there.
Absolutely, and Ricky pitching it in with confidence. There's a little bit of banking there, and he was riding right on the edge of what I would say is a small amount of crown, where it drops away just a hair, and that's where that edge starts to develop, where you have a little bit more traction. Look at this on the inside of the turn. It looks like partially due to contact, not totally sure, but the Optima batteries, number 18, goes for a ride, and goes up and over Adler.
Yeah, and I don't know if she helped take that wheel off or if the wheel came off of Greg's truck before that happened. Nonetheless, he over-rotated, so it looked like something was broke on it, and she unfortunately just had no place to go but up and over.
And maybe he over-jumped the jump before and broke the spindle, but Corey Weller definitely is okay, and she got caught up in a bad situation. Hopefully they can get her back out and go racing.
Well, there's a good look at Jerry Doherty. I will tell you, he and his son love what they do out here. It is a family effort.
This is more of a family event than just a single-person racing team. You know, the families go, everybody kind of gets involved. One thing led to another, so we leased a truck and put Aaron in a Pro Light. After 2 races, you know, he's hooked 2, so we kept working on the team, built our own chassis, so now he's running a V8 Pro Light chassis with us. And my dad has helped me tremendously with helping me get started racing. When he first got back into short course, I helped work on the truck, I helped spot for him, stuff like that, and it really gave me the drive to want to do it myself. Helped me get the opportunity to rent a truck, and we bought a truck, and we built we bought a chassis and built our own truck. There's a lot of kids that have started that way with their dads spotting for them in trophy cars, spotting for their younger brothers. But it's a whole family that helps each other learn to race, grow racing, and there's no other place where you can do it besides, I think short course racing is a great place for it. These are the best dirt racers in the country as far as I'm concerned. And for us to be out there competing with them, get a podium, and still be involved in the sport, we couldn't ask for anything more. With the help of our small band of dedicated helpers and E3 spark plugs, this truck wouldn't be what it is. Lucas has done a great job of bringing everybody together and giving us a place to race. And like I tell everybody else, it's like going to camping with 180 of our friends.
They absolutely love it out here, and you will not find a better group of people than the Dohertys for sure. The entire family, just super people. All right, a full re-rack. Ricky Johnson leads them to the stripe again. Here we go, round 7.
And the newly opened up turn 1 does give more space for racing. And Kyle LeDuc makes his way right up the middle.
He's going to use that space.
He made it work for him for sure. Now he's going to go to the inside of Ricky. Looking for that. Keeps it clean. No contact.
Carl Renazetter showed him that on the first start. Carl went way wide. He did the same thing again on the next start. Oh, and Kyle said, I'll take it. If you're going to open it up, I'll drive right up through the middle. Yeah, it looked like Carl might have broke for a moment, huh?
Yeah, I think he missed a gear or a false neutral or something. He's running that manual transmission. And sometimes that's one of the things, missing a gear or something like that can cost you, where you don't have that situation with the automatics. But of course, the manual gearbox gives you more options, more gears.
It is a sequential, so to miss a gear is kind of difficult, but that false neutral that you spoke of certainly, unfortunately, is an option. Back underway right now, right behind him, though, looks like it is the 72 truck of Brandon Bailey, the MAV TV back machine, and of course Brandon not driving it. It is Rob Naughton behind the wheel, former Pro Light champion and Pro 2 competitor.
As we take a look, of course, that's the number 7 of Todd LeDuc, who had problems getting to the start line. Now he's in a position, battling on the track, which is good news. We'll see if the Rockstar Energy Drink Balloon Mark number 7 can find his way to the podium.
Nose to tail right there, that is Kyle LeDuc, who's hawking Ricky Johnson hardcore right now. Kyle wiping that face mask off. Oh, save a tear off and smacks the K-rail. Let's get it over to Aaron Bates.
Your current points leader, Kyle LeDuc, has won here only one time at this track back in 2011. He said he's done his homework, he went home, he watched and studied old races to figure out where it went wrong and what he needs to work on. Also to find out what work needs to be done to his truck. He did make some minor adjustments to his carburetor, and he said all his bad luck is always happening here at this track, and it's time to turn his luck around.
Yeah, you'll hear a number of guys doing some work to the carburetors. We are at altitude up here, so air fuel will be a good bit different than what it typically is. So to get these things to run right and be good and crisp, so that when you get in the throttle, it responds immediately. It takes a little work, and Ricky Johnson inverts. One of the absolute best in the business, and this right-hander is vicious. I mean, we've seen Rob McCackman in previous years. He flipped here after taking over the lead. Now Ricky Johnson is flipped. I mean, the absolute best have lost it, and that right-hander, I mean, it's been tough on a number of trucks, and he's sitting on top of the K-rail. Hopefully it's okay.
And I think Ricky got caught turning into the corner. Watch, the front tires are still turned, and it rolls the tire bead where Kyle LeDuc had already whipped the truck sideways, and his tires were already straight in the same location where Ricky was turning. So two different styles of turning it in. Watch what I'm talking about. See how he's turning and counting on the sidewall, and see how Kyle had already thrown the back of the truck around. Two different styles. I mean, Ricky is one of the greatest drivers of all time. Can't critique the guy for something. The other thing, something else might have happened to the truck, but it definitely looked like he was turning more than snapping the rear.
And you know, we hear these guys talking about their carburetors as well. Maybe that thing stumbled. It's hard to say. Nonetheless, the top 5 has changed. This is the Geico Utah Off-Road Nationals presented by General Tire. The Pro 4 category out here on the track. Ricky Johnson just inverted in the right-hander, and it is Kyle LeDuc who inherited the lead. Look at Doug Horton fan out, ladies and gentlemen, in that Toyota, finding some speed.
Love the aggression. Let's get down to the pit real quick and Rob. Hey guys, you can see the Red Bull number 48 for Ricky Johnson here in the hot pits. Told the crew over the radio, I think something is broke in the rear end. They're also checking out the steering to find out if anything is wrong. If they can't find anything wrong, more than likely, they may send Johnson back out on track just for points.
See rotating the steering wheel back and forth as we get back out onto the track. Guys that are good friends off the track, Doug Horton and Carl Rennezetter, pitted next to each other the past couple of years, as it is Carl Rennezetter who runs a Horton transmission. We'll see how long he lets Doug lay there in front of him. Doug digging hard and sticking a nose in there. It's time to go.
And Doug Smart Racing gets out of that rut, but Carl says, hey, I'm taking the spot even if I got to run through the rut. And the Lucas Oil General Tire number 1 goes to 3rd position. Horton no stranger to winning. He's won the Baja 1000, won a lot of pro buggy races. I think he's going to get this figured out as well. I think he's going to be a big player in this before it's over.
Yeah, this isn't a bad deal either to follow Carl around a little bit, learn some stuff, and finally has that thing going. I mean, he struggled with a carburetor issue at Reno, but as it worked out here, it looks like, as we take a look at Todd LeDuc way over there by the K-rail trying to open up that left-hander.
Yeah, it looks scary close, especially with him swapping back and forth just a little bit. But he's inside the top 5. And again, very solid for someone who wasn't even going to make the call for the start, it looked like originally. Speaking of solid, Rob Naughton's not doing a bad job for his first time in the Pro 4.
Well, I think we both know Rob Naughton is a solid driver no matter what you put him in. You give him a little bit of seat time inside of that thing, he will be fast for sure.
And just... You know, I think Rob's being smart, not taking a lot of chances as he's trying to sneak up on that speed and taking chances what Kyle LeDuc does, and he is running away with it. Let's get it back down to Rob, who's with Ricky Johnson. Hey guys, unfortunately for Ricky Johnson, first visit here to Utah and ends up on your lid. It looked like you were going to be able to continue, but what ended up breaking?
Well, we ended up finding some speed. You know, Menzies Motorsports never was going to give up. Kevin Coyer came back, gave us a bullet. We run pretty quick in practice and then decent qualifying. So we were up there, we were running good. I just came in and I didn't get it lit up hot enough. You know, when I threw it in, I got a little bit of traction. These BFG tires worked maybe just a little too good at that one moment, and it just threw me on my lid. So 100% driver fault. I made a mistake. My setup was great. My truck was awesome. Jordan, Charlie, Steve, everybody gave me an awesome thing. I screwed up and crashed.
What do you think of this track in Utah?
It's a little tight. You know, honestly, I think they could do a lot more with it, but it's a racetrack. You know, it's not the track's fault. It's my fault. I crashed on my own. So I'm going to have to lick my wounds and come back tomorrow and go after these guys.
Thanks, Ricky.
Thank you.
RJ calling it out there for sure, and hats off to him, calling it as honest as he knows how. Oh, right there's Corey Weller's making a way up through there. Look out, big fella. The girl's coming through.
Gotta respect the lady. She is a solid pace car driver, and she saved that one for sure. Brought the Optima batteries, number 18, back down to terra firma.
And during that RJ interview, and she gets it up on 2 again. I saw Carl Rennezetter do the same thing in that left-hander, that turn number 3. I mean, it'll get you for sure. This thing's starting to get wetted up as we take a look at Jerry Doherty in the E3 back machine. Jerry Doherty having a hard time getting that one to rotate.
Yeah, it did look like it was. Did look like he got it set up to where he could get the back end around. And you know, this track is so deceiving. You know, it looks easy from home, but not only is it blue dirt, but it's got different types of dirt. It feels like when you drive it, there's some that's a little more loamy, a little thicker, then there's some that's drier. It really is a hard place to race.
This guy's making it look pretty easy.
Yeah, no problem for him. I mean, Rob McCachran's been chasing, but he's got nothing for Kyle LeDuc. And sometimes you have these races where someone just is head and tails above everybody else, and right now that person's Kyle LeDuc.
And I still wonder if that automatic is hurting him. Let's check in with Aaron Bates.
Carl Rennezetter has been messing with his gearing changes since he's been here at Miller Motorsports Park to adapt to the track preparation. He can't get out of first or second gear when typically he's racing in third and fourth gear. like everyone else, he's lacking on power here in the altitude. He's struggling to get out of the corners. The team also did some fine-tuning to the suspension. He won here at round number 7 last year, and he's hoping to duplicate that result.
Yeah, all these guys will complain a bit because it feels like the truck is doggy. It just doesn't have the snap that it typically has because they're at altitude, and they do lose horsepower. The Geico Off-Road National presented by General Tires, where Kyle LeDuc is trying to take his streak to 5 consecutive wins, 6 overall on the season.
Well, now that we have the restart and Rob McCaffrey and Carl Renizet are a little closer, maybe they'll find a way to be more competitive, but as I said earlier, Kyle seemed to have them covered.
Off the side of Rob McCaffrey's Rockstar back machine. Toole still helping out the 21 truck, looking back at Carl Renizet, the Lucas Oil General Tire sponsored truck, and the reigning champion inside of the category. McCaffrey down to the bottom, shows him a nose.
Wow, McCaffrey and Carl seem to have a run here to race with Kyle, and McCaffrey's on a different line. Showed a wheel to Kyle LeDuc.
Showed him that nose a couple times, and that's what Rob Mack is so good at.
Well, that's the outlap on the restart. You expect him to be close. Now we'll see if Kyle can get back in that position where he had him gapped.
I think Carl had a run right there, but went out that jump just a little weird and had to check up a little bit. Look at Kyle just back that thing in and stand on the gas.
His rotation is there's so much more rotation, and he brings the rear of the truck around so much quicker than the other drivers. In turn 3, it's very noticeable.
Yeah, and Rob McCaffrey doesn't pitch it in at all. He just drives it through the turns. Carl pitched it in right there, trying to get a run. I think Carl might have a little something there for Mack, but this is a tough place to pass.
Of interesting note, 3 different tire manufacturers in the top 3, so you may get a different kind of drive and a different kind of track on different kind of surfaces. And I think we have many different looks at this track, whether it be a little bit loamy still, rutted up, blue groove, a little bit of dry slick. There's so much going on out there. It's interesting to see how each truck develops as the race moves forward.
Really impressed with Doug Thornton, too. He's really starting to get a handle on that thing. Back there just a little bit, but hanging on to 4th place as we watch these 3 here battle for it on that podium. And I think something that Kyle has gotten much better at is the ability to back off of that truck a little bit and save it so it doesn't break.
Doesn't keep it on kill all the way through.
Absolutely.
If he knows he can make 10 lengths, then he can back it out a little bit. And I've been seeing Kyle mature for sure. I think he hit the nail on the head. Incredible speed, but he knows when to not take the risk. But if he needs to take a risk, he's not afraid to do that either.
No, he is not afraid. He looks very calm in there, really opens up that right-hander. Here comes Rob Mack. Rob Mack takes a look at him. White flag lap, last lap. Here comes Rob Mack down the ball. Shows him a door and bangs the front and then checks up and lets him have it.
The Monster Energy Toyo Tires 99 will take the win, but not without warfare from one of the best. Hello.
Where'd Rob Mack come from all of a sudden? Kyle really opened up that right-hander, and that gave Mack a good run down that rhythm section. Man, he fed him a wheel pretty hard. I don't think he meant to hit him that hard. He checked up immediately afterwards. Bangs him right there and then kind of checks up. Well, maybe he didn't check up.
Sure, he checked out.
Right.
Well, we'll talk to the drivers when we return. That was definitely an exciting finish.